Hello. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I have seen so many videos like this of what I spend in a week in this location, that location, and I want to put my own spin on it. I haven't actually seen one in my area. I live in Northern California, so a pretty high cost of living area. It's not as expensive as living in a big city like San Francisco or Los Angeles, San Diego, but it is still a pretty high cost of living area. I'm someone who's trying to be more conscious of my spending, and as a family, we have some pretty big savings goals coming up in the next year or so. So we are trying to be more and more conscious of what we spend our money on. And also from like a sustainability, environmentalist, social perspective, we are trying to be more conscious of our consumption habits in general and what we're giving our money to and the types of companies that we are funding with our money. So I thought this would be an interesting look into what we spend in a week in our life here in Northern California as a frugal, sustainability conscious couple. That in mind, let's get into day number 1. So let's start with Saturday. My husband and I went out to brunch this morning, and with tip, our brunch ended up being around $60. We also stopped for gas. We just added a little bit. We added $30 worth. The gas station that we stopped at, we just felt like we could get a better price elsewhere. So we just added a little bit, enough for our trip. We ended up going to the state park. The state park had a $10 entrance fee, but it had a bunch of beautiful trails where we could walk the dogs, and it also had this really interesting historical building. This area of California, I wouldn't say it was occupied by Russians, but a Russian business had a headquarters here back in the early 1800s, I believe. So the Russian business built several forts and several trading outposts, and they did a lot of fur trapping and trading. And so there was just a big Russian influence in this area for a while, which I think a lot of people don't know about. It's very interesting. When you think of California, you might think of the Spanish influence or the Mexican influence, but no, there was actually a pretty strong Russian influence on this area. This particular state park is a old Russian fort from the Russian business that was here, and it just had a lot of nice trails and a beautiful beach and ocean view. My husband and I also stopped at a farm stand, and we got a couple of produce items. We spent around $10, and we also got this blue Hubbard, which is as big as my head, and I'm really excited to cook. We also then stopped at Trader Joe's, and we spent $153 on groceries. I feel like we do spend a lot of money on groceries, but we do meal prep. This evening we made pizza. We have a little pizza oven. While we were watching rugby, we just got that heated up and made some dinner, and it was delicious. The total amount we spent on Saturday ended up being $263. We started out Sunday pretty early. Neither of us had breakfast, but we both had coffee. We made coffee at home, and then we drove over to church and we saw some hot air balloons. On this day, both my husband and I volunteered with the Sound and Slides. The church also had its 1-year celebration this day, so they hired a food truck and we were able to have some free pupusas, which was so delicious. The rest of the day, we kind of just hung out at home, got ready for the week, tidied the house and everything, and then I also spent some time training my dog. So this whole entire day, we spent $0, which is amazing. On Monday, we woke up to a beautiful morning. We have a cleaner come in twice a month to clean the house, and they came in on this day, and they do such a great job. The kitchen is shining. It's just spotless. They take 45 minutes, clean the whole house, and it's $160. And I'm so happy that we have this. It is a business expense because my house does get a lot more dirty when I have boarders. The rest of the day I spent working at my desk job. So spending for this day was just the $160 for the cleaners. On Tuesday, we made breakfast and coffee at home again. It was a rainy morning and I had several dog walks this day. This cute little golden retriever, I have a raincoat I bring for him. It did clear up midday, so I was able to do some of my walks without rain. I stopped for gas and spent $67.84. And also on this day, I ordered some new underwear from Quince, and that was $76.25. The total for Tuesday was $144. On Wednesday, I had more dog walks. It was still slightly rainy, but not as bad as the day before. I spent $43 on a special exhibition at the Legion of Honor in San Francisco. I just went ahead on this day and booked my tickets. I don't have that much free time in my schedule, so I really wanted to get the exact day that I was able to have free time to go and do this. Wednesdays are date night for my husband and I, so we make it a point to go out to dinner every Wednesday, and that's just been a lovely way to kind of honor our relationship and make time for each other. And on this evening, we went out to a Burmese restaurant, and the portion sizes were huge, so I definitely had a lot of leftovers. We spent $74 on dinner. The total for Wednesday was $117. Thursday was another beautiful misty day. It wasn't raining as much this day, which I was so thankful for. So the rest of the day I spent working at my desk job and doing a few dog walks. I also ate some of those Burmese leftovers. I also ended up cooking that interesting blue Hubbard from the farm stand for dinner, and it was so delicious. On this day, I didn't spend any money, but my husband did go golfing, which was $38. I started out Friday morning by going to a early morning yoga class, and this was just a nice way to refresh from the week. I spent $25 on the yoga class. I also spent $22 on some low-waste skincare, and I actually kind of regret spending this, but we'll see, maybe I love it. I ended the day by visiting a local rescue farm. This was just a sweet way to end the week, and this was a free excursion. So total spending for Friday comes out to $47. The total amount we spent this week, not accounting for our fixed expenses, was $769. A little bit shocking to actually look at it like that, and I think there are areas that we could definitely cut down on, especially when it comes to impulse spending. But there are other things that I think are worth spending money on, like having hobbies. If you have the budget for it, I think it's really important for maintaining mental health and also just maintaining like your interpersonal relationships. I think having hobbies, having something that you do alone is so important. Overall, I think there are areas for improvement in this, but I think it's just so interesting to look at your own cost of living and maybe compare it to others and just see what you can do differently if you're trying to save more money in the future. I just got my property tax bill in the mail, and I wanted to discuss it because I think it's actually pretty interesting in the context of this video, because a lot of the time whether or not you're a renter or you own your home, you just don't think about all of the things that you're actually paying for, what's actually going into like your property tax bill. Even if you're a renter, you are paying your landlord, and the landlord is using your money to pay property taxes. And I think we should like take into account more what we're actually getting with our property tax bill, because if you're like me, like I have like a bone to pick when it comes to taxes, because I live in California. It is a very highly taxed state, like such a high percentage of my income goes towards taxes, whether that be the 15% self-employment tax that I have to pay on top of my federal and state tax when it comes to my small business income, or just like in general how high the federal and state income taxes are on my W-2 income, and also just the property tax bill. In California, we have, I think it's Proposition 15, like there is a cap on how much they can increase your taxes, your property taxes every year. But because California is such a high cost of living state, like properties are so expensive here, it ends up feeling like I'm paying rent to the government to live here because my property tax bill is just so high. But looking at it, looking at like all of the things that I'm getting through my property taxes, it makes me feel like 1% better. Not very much better, but like 1% better. Some of the things I want to mention are there is a mosquito abatement fund that I'm paying for. It's $12. I'm also paying $72.54 towards the library, which I do actively use. There's also the firefighting funds, which I'm very happy to pay for because California is very flammable. There's all the school funds, which I don't have any kids, so right now it feels like I'm kind of being gypped, but maybe in the future I'll be thankful for that because the schools in my area are very highly rated. And then there's all kinds of like conservation funds for the watershed, for the bay, and there's an emergency radio fund. Like there's just a lot that goes into property taxes. But I'm not saying that I like the property taxes. I'm not saying that I like how high it is. I definitely don't. But at the same time, it's nice to be reminded of the things that I'm getting by paying those property taxes. It makes me feel just a tiny bit better. Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments. Is your cost of living similar? Is it different? What kind of things do you like to spend your money on? What kind of things do you like to save money on? Thank you so much for watching. Other than that, I hope you have the best day.